Hello, I'm Jen. I write the blog A Little Bird Told Me, which is a mix of personal style, fashion-y events, and also thrifty shopping, because I am a self-confessed bargain hunter, charity shop obsessive, as it says there. I have been going to car boot sales and charity shops since I was about 5 with my mum and my grandma, so it's obviously a bit of a family thing. I am mad for cheap bargains, but I am convinced that that doesn't have to mean you look cheap. You can buy things for less money without looking like you have. So my first tip is that discount is not a dirty word. Saving on your shopping doesn't mean scrimping on your style. You don't have to wear some tatty pair of tweed trousers from a charity shop. You don't have to wear a 100% polyester dress from Primark. You can get amazing quality clothing at much cheaper prices than if you just walked into a shop and slapped your credit card down on the counter. So bargains can be found in the most unlikely of places and on the most luxurious of products. So you can get a discount on any brand from ASOS to Mulberry. You can find them at charity shops, on the high street, in discount outlets. There are so many ways to save money, and it doesn't always mean going straight into Primark. And once you've honed your eye for a bargain, a little time and effort is all it takes. So it's not as simple as hitting the high street on a Saturday and being able to find the best bargains. You do have to root around a little bit, you have to do your research, but all that will pay off when you're saving loads of money on your wardrobe. So here are a few of my tips for where to look for the best bargains if you want to buy new clothing. So not everybody likes vintage or second-hand, but there are loads of ways to save money on new purchases. So I'm guessing most of you shop online. I do, it's where I do most of my shopping now. So before making any purchase, this is across everything from fashion to electricals to beauty, you've got to search for a discount code. I am fanatical about discount codes. Look for them, they are out there. Sites like vouchercodes.co.uk are brilliant for kind of collating together all of your discount codes. You can sign up for their newsletters and they will send you to them daily, which is really bad for your bank account because it forces you to make purchases, but it's good for saving money. And sites like ASOS, who are completely online, obviously have a really good discounting system, so discount codes are out all the time, free delivery, 20% off. They have a Twitter feed for their discount codes, which is ASOS_discounts. And I would really recommend following all of your favorite shops and brands on Twitter, because this is a really quick and easy way to get discount codes, to get news of sales and offers and free gifts and all that nice kind of stuff. Shopping events like the clothes show we're at today, it's a great place to pick up designer clothing for less. So there are hundreds of stalls here with the best designer clothing for 20% off, 50% off, some of them go up to 75% off. There are huge savings to be made at an event like this. And these events are happening, maybe not on quite a grander scale, but there are events like this all over the country happening all the time. And it's worth just doing a bit of research and looking for what's happening near you to make sure you get those best discounts on the best clothing and accessories. And sample sales are another really good one. And this is another good reason to follow your favorite brands on Twitter, because a lot of them will tweet about their sample sales. Sample sales are basically when brands or designers sell off surplus stock, maybe stuff that's been used on display in shops or to photograph for websites. It all gets sold off. Now, if like me, I'm going to speak up a little bit. If like me you have size 8 feet, you might not do very You have size 8 feet over there. If you have big feet, you might not do well at sample sales because often you will have a sample size. But if you're lucky enough to be a size 8 or have size 5 feet, you will do really well at sample sales. And they're hugely discounted stock from designers, all kinds of designers from low end right up to the high end. Really good for picking up stock, really beautifully made clothing for a lot cheaper. And my final tip for new clothing is an obvious one, but one it's worth remembering: factory and outlet shops. So do a bit of research, look what's around you, the ones in your area. They often have new season stock that's got tiny flaw on it, or past season stock that was maybe too much of it to sell in store. Really good prices, really good discounts. Bicester Village is one of my favourites. They've got all sorts in there, including a mulberry shop, which is amazing. So if you, like me, are a fan of vintage and second-hand clothing, there is loads of stuff you can do to get that really cheap. Charity shops, like I said before, I am obsessed with charity shops. I love them. So there's websites you can use to search for charity shops in your area. I would recommend just going to them all and working out which ones are the best, because some are good, some are bad. But if you give it a little bit of time and effort, you know, dig through the rails, ask what they've got in the back waiting to come out, make friends with the volunteers, you will find some amazing things in charity shops. This dress I'm wearing right now was $3.99 from a charity shop, so it is worth looking. Car boot sales are another favourite of mine. If you can bear to get up at 7 a.m. on a Sunday, it's worth it, I promise. You will be really surprised at the things people sell for 50p, but don't question it, just give them your money and go. There are loads of things at car boot sales, from fashion, beauty, homeware, electricals. You can get all sorts. This time of year is not the best for car boot sales because a lot of them close over winter. They will probably start again in May time, and they run through to September. A really good website for checking out car boot sales is carbootjunction.co.uk. You can put your postcode in and see what's near you, and they're really, really worth the early morning call, I promise. eBay is another good one I'm sure you're all familiar with. A really easy way to shop for cheap because you can do it from your sofa on the computer. You know, they do all sorts of stuff, fashion, beauty. You can find everything on there, so it's well worth a search. Just be careful with, you know, checking seller feedback and making sure you're not being duped by buying a fake product. It's always worth having a bit of common sense when it comes to eBay, but it is worth it with that little bit of research. Vintage fairs are another favourite of mine. There's a company called Judy's Vintage Fair who travel all over the country. They have a massive range of sellers who gather together in, you know, town halls and event spaces to sell off genuine vintage clothing. It is a bit more expensive than going to a charity shop or a car boot sale because the sellers know what they're selling. But I really recommend it if you've got a special occasion coming up and you want something a bit different. So, for example, a New Year's Eve dress. If you buy a vintage one, you're pretty much guaranteed that no one else will have it. And it still can be a lot cheaper than shopping on the high street. And then a final one is something that's quite new to me that I've discovered recently. Pre-loved designer sales. Basically, people give their designer items to a seller who then hosts a big sale, selling everything off at agreed prices. And this Facebook page, facebook.com/pre-loved designer sales, they happen all over the country. Again, they're in like town halls and galleries and things like that. And you can find the most amazing things in there. I've seen Chanel pumps, Marc Jacobs coats, brand new Louboutins, everything. And yes, it's not dirt cheap, but it's really reasonable prices and so worth it if you're planning a special purchase. Okay, so my top tips for thrifty shopping. Number one is do your research, most important part of any shopping. So search for codes, find a car boot sale near you, read reviews of vintage fairs, and check eBay feedback. So always look into it thoroughly before you part with your money. Get there early. That's the best bargains will go quickly. So from everything, a sample sale, if you get there an hour after it starts, you're going to be at the back of the queue. Car boot sale, you can't rock up at 10 a.m. because everything will be gone. You need to be first in line, and it's worth getting up that little bit earlier and making that effort to get the best stuff. Don't be duped by fakes. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. So common sense always. when buying things at a discount or second-hand. You know, with eBay, check the feedback. If you see it in a charity shop, a lot of charity shops can't recognize fakes, so it's always nice to say, this is a fake, take it away. And haggle as well. I think British people don't do this enough because we're too polite. So I think especially at car boot sales and at vintage fairs and pre-loved designers fairs, sellers are expecting you to haggle. They want you to. They want to make a sale, and if they can reduce the price, they will. So just bite the bullet and ask, can you take a couple of quid off, or if it's a big purchase, can you take a tenner off? And most of the time they will. Maybe a bit of back and forth, but eventually they'll say, go on then. And the final tip, which is one I need to pay more attention to myself because I'm a terrible impulse shopper, especially in charity shops, is don't buy for the sake of it. So if you've seen, you know, a floor-length lime green leather coat for a tenner and you think it's amazing, think about if you would actually wear it. Even if it's been reduced from 200 quid down to a tenner, are you going to wear it? No, probably not. So don't buy it. Don't waste your money just because it's cheap. So, on to my favourite finds. So these are a few examples of things I have found at factory outlets, discount stores, car boot sales. My baby, my Mulberry bag, I actually bought from the Mulberry factory shop in York. Now, I don't think a lot of people know that there are Mulberry factory shops all over the country. They sell at like up to 50% off the RRP. So my bag was originally an eye-watering £795, and I paid, don't tell my mum, 537, which is still a huge amount. But if you're going to buy something, if you're going to invest in a bag or a designer dress, you want the best price possible. So it's always worth doing your research and looking for factory shops and outlets to get the best price possible. This is a vintage Ralph Lauren dress. Original RRP is probably over 200 quid. I bought it in a charity shop for £6.99. Not a very clear photo there, but that's a Sandro, which is a French designer brand leather biker jacket. I got it at a pre-loved sale, which I just happened to stumble across, which was in a town hall near where I live. The original RRP was £600. The price on the tag was £200, but I did a bit of haggling and paid £150. This is a vintage leather pencil skirt from eBay. So these are huge right now. I think Whistles is selling one for about 250 quid. I paid £15 for mine, and I wear it all the time. And then my ultimate find ever, an Hermes leather purse in its dust bag, in its box. And I spotted it on a table at a car boot sale and thought, nah, it's not real, it's fake. Opened it up. It felt real, you know, it was real leather. I asked how much it was. She said £4. I thought it's worth a punt for £4. So I took it to an Hermes store, and they authenticated it for me, and it is real. So £200 is the RRP on Hermes purses, and I paid £4, which just goes to show how much it is worth going to car boot sales, charity shops, vintage fairs, to find little gems like this, which you're not going to be able to find that on the high street. You would never get a discount like that, so it's definitely worth your time. So, if you want to see more of my thrifty tips and fantastic finds, you can read my blog, which is littlebirdfashion.com. You can tweet me at JenLittleBird, or you can look on my Instagram because I'm so smug about showing my finds off that I always take a picture of them. Thank you very much.